okra. That is how it is called here at the Asian markets here in Canada. Chinese okra. And what we need to do, and I shared a version of this 2010, 2009, somewhere around there. Usually it's the full length, like so. It comes very long, yeah, but this is just the way they have it packaged in the Asian market there. So what we want to do, since this was already exposed, I'm going to trim off the bottom and the top, and I'm just using a paring knife, and we got to remove the tough outer skin. So you can use a potato peeler as well, but I'm just more comfortable with the paring knife. We're just going to peel off the skin, the outer skin, as I said. Then we're going to give it a rinse, and then we're going to chop it up into small pieces. Over here, I've got some salted cod, I've got some cumin seed, tomato, curry powder, some Caribbean green seasoning, potato, garlic, salt, pepper, that kind of thing. But for now, all we're doing is peeling it off like so. And I'll quickly show you how I chop it up. Yeah, I just gave it a rinse. I'm just gonna go down the center like so, and I'm gonna go down the center of that, and then all you would do, let's move this aside here, you can put it down 1-inch pieces like so. Yeah, I've got a couple tablespoons of olive oil in my pot. To that, I'm going to add prepared salted cod. And prepared salted cod simply means we've either soaked it in hot water or we've boiled it to remove most of the salt and to rehydrate it. And I like starting with the salted cod here because it's going to flavor the oil. And we love saltfish. We call this saltfish lovingly in the Caribbean. And you can see nice big pieces. And there's a purpose for that. It's because after about 3 minutes on that medium flame in the oil, I'm going to take out all of the salted cod from there. If you wanted to use pollock or whatever salted, and that's totally up to you. I'm going to remove it and then continue with the curry process, and later on we're going to add it back to the pot. One thing I must mention is that since we are using salted fish, now if you want to do this completely vegetarian, completely vegan, you don't need to do this step. This here is just something mommy would do because, yo, daddy loves saltfish too. Daddy loves saltfish. Jesus, he said, well, it's Christian. Anyhow, you don't need to do that step, but it does give it a nice flavor. At this point, I'm going to take out the pieces of saltfish from here. If you wanted to brown it just a little bit more, you can certainly do that. So it's more about the flavor than anything else. If you wanted to get it nice and crispy, again, you can do that as well. What we need to do now, turn the heat down to low because I'm going to go in with my garlic. And I don't want that garlic to burn because this is where we're going to start developing that lovely flavor. And it's very easy on a high heat to burn garlic. If you wanted to add some onion in here, you can rock some onion. It's totally up to you. The other thing I like adding in here is some Caribbean green seasoning, and that is the key to a lovely curry in my humble opinion. Stir that around, and Caribbean green seasoning is just a blend or a puree of all the herbs along with garlic and seasoning peppers and everything else. We like using it in our dishes, and we usually have it on standby in the fridge in a bottle. My one is nice and vibrant green, and it maintains its flavor and everything else because my base is olive oil. Some people use vinegar, some people use water. Totally up to them. Point, I'm going to add some fresh ground black pepper and a bit of cumin seeds. And if you've been following me for a minute on the interweb here, you will know in the Caribbean, especially places like Trinidad and Tobago and Guyana, we call cumin jeera, and that is from the East Indian indentured laborers who came to the Caribbean after the abolition of slavery. It's been about 3 minutes since we added the cumin in there, so in goes your favorite curry powder Heat still on low, and we want to move this around. The recipe will be posted on CaribbeanPot.com, so don't fret about exact amounts and everything else. That will all be there, so you got to head over to CaribbeanPot.com in a couple days and the printable recipe will be there. At this point my heat is still on low. I really want to sort of wet toast fry the spices which makes up the curry powder, just to allow it to bloom. I am not making this one spicy whatsoever. And by spicy I mean no hot pepper, but if you wanted to add a piece of habanero, scotch bonnet, a couple bird's eye, some wiri wiri, whatever it is you have on hand, I mean to say rocket if you want spicy. I'm not going without spicy today. People complaining, oh gosh Chris, you only eating spicy recipes. Yeah, listen Norma, you can add or not add peppers accordingly. The recipes is like that. It's for you to be creative a little bit. After about 3 minutes, what we're gonna do is crank up the heat back up to medium high, and here's where now we're gonna add all of that prepared Jingi to the pot. Then it's time to give everything a good mix, just to coat it with the curry base that we created there. If you notice that it kind of stuck on the bottom, just put some a little bit of water, and then you're gonna use the spoon or whatever it is to scrape the bottom just a little bit, just to pick up some more of that curry. Yeah. Now to stretch this for more people, what we need to do is to add some potato in here. So in goes that potato, and you can notice I cut it up fairly big, so it's 3 medium-sized potato that I quartered. At this point we need salt. Now keeping in mind that there will be remnants of salt in the salted cod that we started off with. Go a little bit light with salt here, and later on after you add back the salted cod, what you would do is taste it then and adjust it at that point. I also like adding a bit of chopped tomato in there, and the tomato will just bring a bit of acidity to the game and help balance off the flavors. Some fresh ground black pepper going in, and that's going to be followed by water, because we need a liquid to braise it, especially the potato, to get it nice and tender. So in goes that water. We're going to bring that up to a boil, and we're going to reduce it to a simmer, and then let it simmer down there. Yeah, just look at that. This is going to be some nice things. I'm just going to tuck the potato down because everything else will cook quicker. The tomato and the Jingi will cook quicker than the potato. So I'm just going to let that go now. I'm going to put the lid on to bring it up to a boil, but then I'm going to hit them slightly ajar so there's a breathing room for it to vent. It'll only take about 3 minutes for it to come up to a boil. And see that nice bubble happening there. The last thing I want to do here now, I've got a piece of coconut cream or cream coconut. I'm just going to tuck that down in there. Now here's the thing, instead of water that I added in there, if you wanted to go 1 cup water and 1 cup coconut milk, I mean to say, do your thing. If you wanted to use coconut milk powder, I mean to say, you can use that. In my case here, this is the only form of coconut milk I have, which is the cream coconut. So I tuck that in there. All of that is going to come together now, and I really want that potato to be under the water there. It's been going out for 20 minutes. The potato is starting to fall apart. The Jingi has started to fall apart. So here's where we're going to do a few things. We have to decide how saucy we want this. I am eating this with sada roti, and if you're looking for a roti recipe, head over to CaribbeanPot.com. We got pepper roti, sada roti, bus up shot, which is paratha, dal puri, peas puri, all kind of nice roti recipes on there. So I need a bit of gravy, yeah? But I want to make sure first that the potato is fully cooked. So what I do is, boom, I smash it. If it smashes, I know it's fully cooked. At this point, we're gonna add back the salted cod. Then we're gonna hit that to stir, just to mix that in. And we're gonna give that 2 minutes. Yeah, 2 minutes. Because remember, I warned you, or we spoke about, oh, there's a little bit of oil and salted cod still left in the bowl there. I'm not trying to waste that. The dry guava season. Earlier, I mentioned that the remnants of salt in the salted cod could influence the dish. And by that I mean is you can over salt it. So give it a couple minutes, let that salt permeate. Yeah? Then you would taste it and you would adjust the salt at that point. If you need to add some more, well, add some more. If by chance it's too salty, chop up another tomato, boom, add it in there. That should sort it out for you. Sup, soldiers? Listen, if you enjoy this recipe, I'd really appreciate it if you hit subscribe and click that bell notification thing. If you've made the recipe, take a picture and send it to me. Email address down here. I mean, trying to tell people the email address, them butts will take the address and do all kind of thing with it. And tag me on Instagram at Caribbean Pot. I really appreciate you guys and thanks for being in my kitchen with me today. Irie? Now I know after I shut off the stove, this clay, it's a glazed clay pot that I'm cooking in here, will retain a lot of heat, and that residual heat is going to further cook this. So I'm going to turn off my stove, and here's where I'm going to say thank you for joining me in the kitchen today. I do hope you get the opportunity to give this one a try. Remember, if you want to make it vegan or vegetarian, you don't need to put the salted cod in there. Put the salted cod, boom, traditional things. Put the coconut milk in there. Brilliant things. Irie? Irie. What's up, soldiers? Don't forget to click subscribe. If you've already clicked subscribe, hit that bell notification thing. I want to all you missing out on the new videos, man. Come on, click.